Alright guys, I'm going to do a little weld testing here. This is just a piece of scrap that I've got. You can see I've got it lined up, bubbles pretty centered there, so I'm going to just place a tack on this side and see how far it pulls it. And so I'm just going to do a little series of tests just to kind of see, and then I'll probably run a bead and see how much it moves it off. But I'm trying to, just get this and see how much it's going to move around on me. So, alright, I'll bring you back. Alright, so first I'm going to tack in the middle of this. This one tack right in the middle. With not holding anything, no clamps or braces or anything. It looks like it pulled it some, for sure. It looks like it pulled it about a quarter of a bubble. Let's see if I can move it back by pushing down on it. It looks like you can get it back the other direction by pulling on it. So had I had this clamped down just a little bit, I think probably would have been fine. I'll go ahead and tack this other side, holding down on that. Let's see what it does. Well, that's putting it back in the middle. Alright, so that put it back dead center. I just holding down there. I don't know. Let me back out a bit. But anyway, yeah, I got a tack on both sides here. So we're back to center. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this loose, and I'm going to tack on the edges here, just on the corners, and see if it pulls it up, which it probably will. But I just want to see the difference. I'll bring you back. Alright, this time we're going to tack at the corners and see if it makes any difference at all. I'm kind of doubting it. I'm pretty sure it's going to lift up, but we'll just see just because we can, because that's what we do. We test things and we try to figure out what works and what doesn't, because there's so many opinions that it just is insane. And so for me, I like to, if you watch my channel at all, I like to test things. Not always the best test, doesn't always come out, like I want or whatever, but at least I'm trying, give me a little credit for effort, I guess. But all right, here we go. Alright, so on that corner the bubble didn't move. However, I'll move it to a different area and see. I'll move it to the other side and see if it looks like it moved at all. No, it's still centered. So it didn't seem to pull as bad in the corner. I could be missing something. And but for me, I kind of like the corners, and I'll tell you why. Just for me, and like I said, I'm not a welder by any stretch of the imagination. I can stick a couple pieces of metal together, but just in my thinking, if you tack these corners, then you can go ahead and lay your nice weld down. If you tack in the middle, then you got to weld over or around the bead that you tack, which isn't a big deal. But if you're trying to make a consistent, decent looking weld, if you got two corners like I've done on these other corners, you know, you just fill the void in the middle. So that's just my theory, and there's you know, lots of other theories, but for now that's mine, and if somebody gives me a better reason, I'll think through it and may change my mind. You know, I try to stay very open-minded, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit this other side real quick. And I'm trying to do two opposite sides, and it still looks pretty centered up. You know, I tack to do this, like I was going to do it, I'd do all four sides, which I'll probably go ahead and do. What I'm interested in is seeing when I lay this weld down with these tacks and everything, how much it's going to pull this direction, because one solid weld is a lot of heat. So alright, so we're still centered on the bubble, and let me set you somewhere where you can watch the bubble while I'm welding, because you're not going to be able to watch the welding itself because of all the brightness, and I don't have a lens for it. So let's see if I can do this. I don't know how well this will show up because that's a clear bubble, but we'll try to get an idea anyway. Scoot in here, and as I'm welding that, we'll kind of see how much we move. Now, the bubble's not completely perfectly centered. Well, yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. I don't know if that's showing that, but it's pretty close. So, all right. Let's take a look and see when I weld one side solid, see how much it moves with just those tacks holding the other side. Alright, it looks like it's, to me it looks like it's still pretty centered. It could have maybe moved a little bit. We'll let it cool down and kind of see what it does, see if it kind of pulls back. Then we'll weld the other side, and this will give me an idea of how much this thing's going to try to move around on me when I'm welding these uprights. So I'll bring you back. Alright, I was going to show you again. Maybe this will focus there. You can kind of see the bubble, hopefully. You know, this thing, it's just for whatever reason likes to focus on the background stuff. It's not really wanting to focus. You can see its bubbles centered, and then you can see here the weld I just laid down. And so that's a pretty, you know, that's 2-inch weld. So, and it didn't really pull that bubble anywhere, as long as I had these tacks on each side of on the corners there. So I'll spin this around this direction, like that, and I'll set you back up, and we'll do this side, and I'll move this over here. It looks like the bubble's just a little bit to the left there, so I'm kind of curious if I hit this, if it'll pull it back center. And this is still pretty warm, so we'll let that cool for a minute and see what that bubble does. All right, let's see what happens here. We got the bubble in the center. I spun this around, and I'm gonna hit this other side with a solid weld, 2-inch weld all the way across. Keep an eye on that bubble for me and see if it moves. Alright, here we go. Alright, it looks pretty dang centered to me, still. So let me get you off the tripod here, see what we see. Back this out. And so, here's the weld. Once again, I can't tell if that focuses or not, but anyway, so there's that, and then there's the bubble. So this is with nothing. Literally, this is just 4 tacks on the corners, and it's running a bead each side. If it moved at all, it should have compensated and pulled it back. Now, when I put the tack in the center, it pulled it up. When I put the tack on the edge, it stayed the same. At least in my thinking and what I saw. You guys tell me what you saw. But yeah, for me, I mean, I'm going to do this, okay, when I'm doing these uprights. So it's going to have this clamp on it, and I'm going to tack it on all 4 corners before I actually run beads. So in my mind, that should be plenty. So, you know, I guess we'll find out, you know, once we do it. But that, to me, that seemed like a pretty good test, and it's still standing up straight. So it's not. I'm obviously not putting enough heat into it to, you know, make it warp out that bad. Well, any really that I can see. So, so yeah, tell me what you guys think. And I thought about taking a sledgehammer and beating this thing, but I'd really rather not necessarily because the welds, because I have no doubt those welds are going to hold fantastic, but just the fact that I'm beating that metal up and I could probably use it for something in the future, you know what I mean? Because I don't think you can ever have too much scrap laying around. And you know, I can just cut these welds back off and use those pieces for something else in the future. So I just soon not just beat the piss out of that. But yeah. All right. There you go. Both sides. I can even see the penetration from up here. I don't know if that'll show in there, but I can see the shiny spots down in there. Anyway, so yeah, tell me what you think. And like I said, this little guy right here I think is going to help too. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. The main thing that I've found having issues with is not so much this stuff moving around, but cutting it square, because I have this DeWalt cut saw, which this is just a Home Depot special, whatever, and it's got one of these blades on it, and they tend to flex a little bit, and as I'm going down, it just doesn't cut as crisp. So I've ended up spending a lot of time trying to flatten these back out. So I had to cut them a little bit bigger, and then sit with a grinder and grind them back to try to get them flush. That way, when I set the piece on like that, it's not already leaning that direction or that direction. So, see what I'm saying? Like here, let's see. That piece there is pretty square, looks like. But a lot of times when I cut them, they'll be leaning, you know, a little bit to the left or the right, and I have to sit and try to grind that down on each side to get this flush, and it's a pain in the butt. So, if you got any pointers on that, and here's how I've been cutting this. I try to come in to where it cuts the corner first, and then goes through. That way it's not cutting a flat first, and it seems to cut pretty well that way. But again, like I said, once it gets to the bottom, it's starting to kind of flex this blade, and it just may be a cheap saw. You know, I didn't spend $500 on this. I don't know what I spent on it, maybe $100 or, you know, whatever, but it does the job for me, and I don't do a whole lot of this type of stuff. So most of the stuff I'm cutting is little tiny stuff. So anyway, all right guys, I don't want to make this video too long. I just thought I'd, you know, do that little test real quick and kind of see how much it moved, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to lose any sleep over that at all. It really didn't move that bad, and I think for me the key is tacking opposite corners or opposite sides, or, you know, but I did, in my opinion, when I put the tack in the center, it did move it versus putting it on the corner. So you guys tell me what you think about that deal. See ya.